Welcome to BL Hub. If you're a lover of boys' love stories or you do kick your legs while watching two men kissing, then you are at the right place. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share before we dive into this story. Thank you.
My name is Ronald, and at 24, I thought I had my life mapped out. Stable job as a graphic designer at a mid-tier agency, a fiance who came from good family, and parents who finally stopped nagging about my future. The engagement to Daniel had been arranged through mutual business connections. His father's company supplied materials to mine, and somehow, love was supposed to follow the contract. It didn't. Daniel was charming in public. Tall, polished, always smiling for the cameras at family events. But alone, he turned into someone else. The insults started small, comments about my clothes, my soft voice, how I wasn't man enough for him. Then came the yelling, the way he'd grab my wrist too hard when he thought I was flirting with a coworker. I told myself it was stress from his job at the family firm. I told myself I could fix it. That night, everything shattered. It was past midnight when my phone rang. I was in the kitchen of our shared apartment, nursing a cup of tea, trying to calm the knot in my stomach. Daniel had stormed out after dinner because I dared suggest we talk about postponing the wedding. The call was from him. I answered on the second ring. Daniel? His voice exploded through the speaker. You think you can just sit there like some pathetic little? I winced, holding the phone away from my ear. Please, not now. It's late. Not now? You don't get to decide when, Ronald. You don't get to decide anything. You're nothing without me. Without this ring, without my name on your pathetic life. You hear me? You're weak, Tears burned my eyes. I hated how small his words made me feel. Stop. Just stop. He laughed, cold and sharp. Or what? You'll cry? Run to your mommy? Face it, you're stuck with me. No one else would want. The line crackled. I thought the call dropped. Then a new voice cut in, deep, calm, lethal. Enough. My heart stopped. That voice. I knew it. Everyone in the city knew it. Elias Voss. CEO of Enigma Corporation. The man who owned half the skyline, the one whose name made boardrooms silent. We'd met once, at a charity gala Daniel dragged me to. I'd spilled wine on his cufflinks by accident. He'd only smiled, said it was fine, and walked away like I didn't exist. But now he was on the line. Daniel sputtered. Who the hell is this? How did you? I own the network you're using, Elias said flatly. And I've been listening for the last 30 seconds. You have 5 minutes to pack whatever you can carry and leave that apartment. Security will escort you out. You can't. I already did. The line went dead. I stared at my phone, hands shaking. What just happened? Minutes blurred. I sat frozen until a sharp knock echoed through the apartment at exactly 3:07 a.m. I opened the door. Elias Voss stood there in a black coat, rain glistening on his dark hair. No entourage, no bodyguards, just him, eyes like storm clouds fixed on me. Ronald, he said, voice softer now. Are you hurt? I shook my head, throat tight. How did you know where I live? I make it my business to know things. He stepped inside without asking, closing the door behind him. The apartment felt smaller with him in it. Daniel's gone. He won't come back tonight. Or any night. I wrapped my arms around myself. Why are you here? He studied me for a long moment. Because no one deserves to be spoken to like that. Especially not you. My laugh came out broken. You don't even know me. I know enough. He glanced around, at the half-packed boxes I'd hidden in the corner, the bruise fading on my wrist from last week. His jaw tightened. Pack what you need. You're not staying here. I blinked. What? You're coming with me. It wasn't a question. I should have argued. Should have called a friend, my sister, anyone. But the exhaustion, the fear, the way his presence filled the room like a shield, it all crashed over me. I nodded. He waited while I threw clothes into a duffel, grabbed my laptop and sketchbook. When I was done, he took the bag from me without a word and led me out. The elevator ride was silent. Outside, a sleek black car idled. He opened the door for me. As we pulled away from the building, rain streaking the windows, I whispered, "Where are we going?" "My place," he said simply. "Until you decide what you want next." I looked at him then, really looked. Sharp jaw, tired eyes that held something I couldn't name. Not pity. Not obligation. Something deeper. And for the first time in months, the knot in my chest loosened just a fraction. The car smelled like leather and rain and something faintly expensive I couldn't place. Maybe cedar, maybe him. Elias didn't speak during the drive. He didn't need to. The silence wasn't awkward. It was deliberate, like he was giving me space to breathe for the first time in months. I kept stealing glances at his profile. Streetlights carved sharp angles across his face. High cheekbones, straight nose, the faint shadow of stubble that made him look less untouchable and more human. 32, according to every business article I'd ever skimmed. Young for the empire he ran. Ruthless, they said. Brilliant. Untouchable. Yet here he was, driving me away from my own life at 4 a.m. We pulled into an underground garage beneath one of the glass towers downtown. Enigma's headquarters doubled as his private residence on the top floors. Of course it did. The elevator was all mirrored walls and soft golden light. I caught my reflection, red-rimmed eyes, messy hair, oversized hoodie I'd thrown on in a panic. Next to him I looked like a drowned kitten standing beside a panther. He noticed me looking. "You're safe here," he said quietly. I swallowed. "I know. I just don't know what I'm doing." "You don't have to know tonight." The doors opened directly into his penthouse. I stopped breathing for a second. Floor-to-ceiling windows wrapped 3 sides of the living space. The city glittered below like spilled diamonds. Dark wood floors, low-slung charcoal furniture, abstract paintings that probably cost more than my entire apartment. One wall was bookshelves, real books, not just decor. Another held a single massive canvas of stormy blues and violent golds. It should have felt cold. It didn't. It felt private, like the rest of the world had been locked out. He set my duffel near the door. "Guest wing is down the hall, second door on the right. Fresh towels, spare toiletries, everything you need. Kitchen's open if you're hungry. I'll be in my office if you need anything." I nodded, suddenly shy. "Thank you. For everything." He paused, studying me again. "Get some rest, Ronald." He disappeared down another corridor. I stood there alone for a long minute, heart hammering, before dragging my bag to the guest room. The bed was ridiculous, king-sized, clouds for pillows, sheets that smelled faintly of lavender. I collapsed face first and didn't move for what felt like hours. Sleep came in fits, haunted by Daniel's voice echoing in my skull, then replaced by Elias's low, steady, "enough." When I woke, sunlight stabbed through the blinds. My phone was dead, I hadn't charged it, and I had no idea what time it was. Panic flared for a second before I remembered. Daniel was gone. I was here. I showered, changed into clean jeans and a soft sweater from my bag, and ventured out. The kitchen was massive, all black marble and stainless steel. Elias stood at the island, sleeves rolled to his elbows, pouring coffee from a French press. He looked up when I entered. "Morning," he said. No trace of exhaustion despite the fact he couldn't have slept more than a couple hours. "Hi." I hovered near the doorway, unsure where to put myself. He slid a mug toward me. "Black okay? Or do you need sugar, milk, existential crisis on the side?" A surprised laugh slipped out. "Black is fine. Thank you." He leaned against the counter, watching me sip. "How are you feeling?" Like I got hit by a truck and then rescued by a billionaire. So, confused. Grateful. Terrified. Fair. He took a slow drink. "I had security pull Daniel's access to every shared account you two had. Bank cards linked to his name are frozen. The lease is in your name only now. My legal team handled the paperwork overnight. You can stay in the apartment if you want. Or not. Up to you." My mug froze halfway to my lips. "You did all that already?" "I don't sleep much." A faint, almost self-deprecating smile. "And I move fast when something matters." I stared at him. "Why does this matter?" He didn't answer right away. Instead he walked around the island, stopping just close enough that I could feel the warmth coming off him. Because the moment I heard his voice on that call, he said quietly, I recognized the tone. I've heard it before. Not directed at me, but at people I couldn't protect when I was younger. I swore I'd never stand by again. My throat closed. You didn't even know me then. I know you now. The air between us thickened. Not uncomfortable. Sure. I looked down at my coffee. I don't want to be a charity case. You're not. His voice dropped lower. You're someone who deserves better. And I'm someone who can give it. I met his eyes. Sombre. Steady. No pity. Just certainty. Something inside me cracked open. Small, tentative, hopeful. Before I could speak, his phone buzzed on the counter. He glanced at it, jaw tightening. Work, he muttered. I have to take this. Stay as long as you like. There's food, books, the rooftop garden if you want air. Mi casa es su casa, for real. He left me standing there, pulse racing. I spent the day wandering the penthouse like a tourist in someone else's dream. The rooftop was insane. Glass railings, lush planters, a small infinity pool reflecting the sky. I sat on the edge of a lounger with my sketchbook, drawing absent charcoal lines that slowly turned into the shape of a man in a black coat standing in rain. When evening came, Elias found me there. He'd changed into dark jeans and a charcoal sweater. Casual but still somehow expensive. He carried 2 glasses of red wine. Thought you might need this, he said, handing me one. I took it. Our fingers brushed. Electricity snapped up my arm. We sat in silence for a while, watching the city turn gold then indigo. Finally I asked the question burning since 3 a.m. Why me? He turned his head. Because when I heard you say, stop, in that small, tired voice, I felt it here. He tapped his chest once. And I haven't felt anything that real in years. My breath caught. He set his glass down. Slowly, giving me every chance to pull away, he reached out and brushed a strand of hair from my forehead. I didn't pull away. His thumb lingered against my temple. Tell me to stop and I will. I didn't. Instead I leaned in. Our lips met soft, careful, like we were both afraid the other would vanish. It stayed gentle for a heartbeat. Then hunger rose. His hand cupped the back of my neck, mine fisted in his sweater. The kiss deepened, slow, searching, full of everything we hadn't said yet. Heat bloomed under my skin. His breath hitched when I tugged him closer. When we finally broke apart, foreheads pressed together, we were both trembling. I don't want to rush you, he whispered, voice rough. You're not. I swallowed. I've been frozen for so long. You just thawed me. He smiled. Small, real, devastating. We didn't speak again for a long time. We just sat there, hands linked, watching the city lights flicker like they were celebrating something new. Something that might last. The next morning I woke up tangled in sheets that still carried the faint trace of Elias's cologne from when he'd kissed me goodnight on the rooftop. Slow, lingering, like he was memorizing the shape of my mouth. I lay there staring at the ceiling, heart doing ridiculous somersaults. 24 hours ago I'd been hiding bruises and pretending everything was fine. Now I was in the most expensive bed in the city, lips still tingling, wondering if last night had been real. I found him in the kitchen again, this time making eggs. Shirt sleeves rolled, hair slightly mussed from sleep. Domestic. Almost unfairly beautiful. Morning, I said, voice scratchy. He turned, and the smile that broke across his face felt private, like it belonged only to me. Sleep okay? Better than I have in months. I slid onto a stool at the island. You cook? Badly. But I can manage scrambled eggs without setting off the smoke alarm. He slid a plate toward me. You look like you've been living on coffee and anxiety. I laughed despite myself. Accurate. We ate in comfortable quiet. Every few seconds our knees brushed under the counter. Neither of us moved away. After breakfast he checked his phone, frowned, then looked at me. I have meetings until late afternoon. But I cleared my evening. Thought we could go somewhere. If you want. Where? Somewhere normal. Away from glass towers and security details. He hesitated. There's this little art supply store downtown I used to go to when I was starting out. They still carry the charcoal you like, the soft kind that smudges everywhere. My chest squeezed. You remembered that? I remember everything you said at that gala. You talked about drawing for 10 straight minutes while I pretended to listen to some investor drone on about quarterly projections. I was hanging on every word. Heat crawled up my neck. I thought you were being polite. I was being obsessed. He said it so matter-of-factly my fork froze halfway to my mouth. Still am. I didn't know what to say to that, so I just nodded. Let's go. He drove us himself. No driver, no tinted windows this time. Just a nondescript black SUV and him in dark jeans and a navy sweater that made his eyes look almost silver. We parked 3 blocks from the store so we could walk. The October air was crisp, leaves skittered across the sidewalk. For the first time in forever I didn't flinch when someone brushed past me on the street. Inside the shop smelled like paper and graphite and possibility. Elias wandered the aisles like he belonged there, picking up pencils, testing the weight of sketchbooks. I watched him from behind a display of watercolor tubes, heart doing that stupid flutter thing again. He caught me staring. What? You look happy, I said softly. He came closer, voice dropping. I am. We left with 2 full bags, charcoal, new sketch pads, a set of inks I'd been eyeing for years but could never justify. He paid without blinking. When I tried to protest, he just said, "Let me spoil you a little. Please." Back at the penthouse, he surprised me again. He'd cleared the dining table, spread out drop cloths, set up 2 easels facing each other. I want to draw you, he said. If that's okay. I blinked. You draw. Used to. Stopped when the company swallowed my life. He rubbed the back of his neck, suddenly shy. Thought maybe we could do it together. No pressure. I nodded before my brain could overthink it. We sat. I sketched him first, quick, loose lines capturing the way his hair fell across his forehead, the quiet intensity in his eyes when he concentrated. He drew me more slowly, gaze flicking between the page and my face like he was trying to learn me by heart. Half an hour in, he set his pencil down. Come here, he murmured. I crossed the small space between us. He pulled me onto his lap, easel forgotten. Our mouths met, deeper this time, hungrier. His hands slid under my sweater, warm palms flat against my back. I arched into the touch, fingers threading through his hair, tugging just enough to make him groan low in his throat. We kissed until breathing hurt, until the city lights came on outside and painted us in soft gold and violet. His lips moved to my jaw, my neck. I tipped my head back, pulse racing under his mouth. Every press of his lips felt like a promise. When we finally pulled apart, both of us shaky, he rested his forehead against mine. I don't want this to be temporary, he said roughly. I don't want you to leave when you feel safe again. My heart tripped. I don't want to leave. Good. He kissed me once more, soft, slow, sealing. Because I'm not letting you go without a fight. Later that night we curled up on the sectional, my head on his chest, his fingers tracing lazy patterns on my arm. My phone, finally charged, lit up with missed calls and texts. Most from Daniel. Threats. Please. Rage. Elias saw the screen over my shoulder. His arm tightened around me. Block him, he said quietly. Or I will. I hesitated only a second before I did it. Every number. Every app. Gone. The relief was instant, dizzying. Elias kissed the top of my head. Proud of you. I turned in his arms, looking up at him. I think, I'm falling for you. Really fast. Is that insane? He smiled, small, tender, devastating. No. Because I've already fallen. We didn't say anything else for a long time. We just held each other while the city hummed far below us, and for the first time in my life, the future didn't feel like something to survive. It felt like something to run toward. 3 days later the bubble burst. I'd started to believe maybe life could stay this soft. Mornings with coffee and quiet glances, afternoons sketching side by side, evenings where Elias's hand found mine without hesitation and stayed there like it belonged. We hadn't rushed past kisses that left us breathless and hearts hammering, But every touch felt like the next page turning in a story neither of us wanted to end. Then reality knocked. Literally. I was alone in the penthouse. Elias had a rare in-person board meeting downtown when the intercom buzzed. The doorman's voice came through crisp and professional. "Mr. Ronald? There's a visitor for you. Says his name is Daniel Hargrove." He's so insistent. My stomach dropped through the floor. "He's not allowed up," I managed. "He's not trying to come up. He's in the lobby refusing to leave until he speaks to you. Security's holding him, but he's causing a scene. Wants you to come down or he's calling the press." Of course he was. I closed my eyes, counted to 10. The old panic tried to claw its way back, but it felt smaller now. Weaker. "I'll be down in 5 minutes, I said. I texted Elias first. Daniel's in the lobby. Making threats about the press. I'm going down to tell him to leave. I'll be okay. The reply came in seconds. Do not go alone. I'm on my way. Wait for me, But I couldn't wait. Not this time. If I let fear win now, I'd never stop running. I took the private elevator to the lobby. Daniel stood near the reception desk, suit rumpled, hair wild, eyes bloodshot. 2 security guards flanked him, arms crossed. The second he saw me, he lunged forward, only to be stopped by a firm hand on his chest. "Ronald," he spat. "You think you can just disappear? Hide behind some rich asshole and pretend you're someone important." I kept my voice level. "I'm not hiding. I'm done. We're done. You don't get to decide that." He laughed, bitter and loud. "You think Voss actually wants you? You're a charity project. A rebound. He'll get bored in a month and toss you back where you belong, with me." The words stung, but they didn't land like they used to. Maybe because I'd heard Elias say my name like it was something precious. Maybe because I'd felt his arms around me at 4 a.m. when nightmares woke me shaking. "I'm not going back," I said. "Ever." Daniel stepped closer, voice dropping to that dangerous whisper he used when he wanted to hurt without witnesses. "You'll come crawling when he realizes you're nothing. When the money dries up and the attention stops. You're weak, Ronald. Always have been." The elevator dinged behind me. Elias stepped out, coat unbuttoned, tie loosened, expression carved from ice. He didn't shout. Didn't rush. Just walked straight to me, placed himself slightly in front, one hand settling protectively at the small of my back. "Leave," he told Daniel. "One word. Flat. Final." Daniel sneered. "This doesn't concern you, Voss. It concerns me the second you step foot in my building to harass him." Elias's voice stayed calm, but the air around him felt electric. "You have 30 seconds to walk out, or I file charges. Harassment. Stalking. Violation of the restraining order my team already had issued this morning." Daniel's face went white. "You can't." "I already did." Elias pulled out his phone, showed the screen, official document, time-stamped 40 minutes ago. "You're served. Next time you come within 500 feet of Ronald, you're arrested." Silence stretched, brittle. Daniel looked between us, fury twisting into something uglier, defeat. "You're pathetic," he hissed at me. "Both of you." Then he turned and stalked out. The glass doors slid shut behind him like a period at the end of a very long, ugly sentence. Elias exhaled, shoulders dropping a fraction. He turned to me, eyes searching my face. "You okay?" I nodded, then shook my head, then laughed, a shaky, relieved sound. I told him I was done. Out loud. To his face. Elias's hand slid up to cup my cheek. "You were incredible." We rode the elevator back up in silence, his arm around my shoulders, my head against his chest. When the doors opened into the penthouse, he didn't let go. Instead, he guided me to the couch, sat, pulled me down beside him. "I was terrified you'd get hurt," he admitted quietly. "I've never driven that fast in my life. I needed to do it myself." I looked up at him. "But I'm glad you came." He brushed his lips across my forehead. "Always." We stayed like that for a while, tangled together, breathing in sync. Later, when the adrenaline finally ebbed, he spoke again. "I've been thinking." I tilted my head. About. About how fast this is moving. And how much I don't care. He took my hand, threaded our fingers. I want you to stay. Not because you need somewhere safe. Because I want you here. Every morning. Every night. I want to build something real with you, Ronald. My pulse roared in my ears. I want that too, I whispered. He smiled, slow, bright, unguarded. Then he leaned in. The kiss started gentle, grateful. Then it shifted. His hands framed my face, mine slid under his jacket, feeling the heat of him through his shirt. We kissed like we were making up for every lost, lonely second before this moment, deep, unhurried, full of quiet promises. When we broke apart, both breathing hard, he rested his forehead against mine. Move in, he said. Not a question. A hope. I laughed softly. I already have, haven't I? Not officially. He kissed the corner of my mouth. Say yes. Yes. He pulled me closer, arms wrapping tight around me like he never planned to let go. And for the first time, forever didn't feel like a scary word. It felt like home. 1 week turned into 2, then 3. Time stopped feeling linear. It became a soft loop of mornings waking up to Elias's arm draped over my waist, afternoons where we stole hours from his schedule to wander the city hand in hand, nights where we talked until our voices gave out and then just listened to each other breathe. I started freelancing again, small design projects I could do from the guest room that had quietly become my studio. Elias never asked me to move my things into his bedroom. He just started leaving drawers empty, closet space cleared, a second key card on the nightstand one morning with a simple note. Yours whenever you're ready. I was ready the same night. We didn't make a ceremony of it. I carried my pillow and sketchbook across the hall, set them on his side table like they'd always belonged there. He watched from the doorway, arms crossed, trying and failing to hide how much it affected him. When I turned around, he crossed the room in 3 strides, cupped my face, and kissed me like a man who'd been starving for years and finally found water. That kiss turned into another, then another, deeper each time, hands roaming with quiet reverence. We fell onto the bed in a tangle of limbs and whispered laughter, clothes shed slowly like we were unwrapping gifts we'd waited too long to open. His mouth traced every inch of skin he uncovered, reverent, careful, like I might disappear if he moved too fast. I arched under him, fingers digging into his shoulders, memorizing the way his breath caught when I said his name. Afterward we lay wrapped around each other, sweat cooling, heart still racing. He pressed his lips to my temple and murmured against my skin, I love you. The words landed soft, certain, like they'd been waiting a long time to be spoken. I turned in his arms, searched his eyes. I love you too. No hesitation. No doubt. Just truth. We said it again the next morning over coffee, laughing at how easy it felt after everything. We said it in the elevator on the way to a late dinner, whispered between kisses against the mirrored wall. We said it in the dark when nightmares tried to creep back in, his voice steady against my ear until the shadows retreated. Life started to feel normal. Beautifully, impossibly normal. Then came the photograph. It hit the tabloids first, grainy but unmistakable. Elias and me outside a quiet cafe 3 days earlier, his arm around my shoulders, my head tilted against his, both of us smiling like the rest of the world didn't exist. The headline screamed, Enigma CEO's secret romance. Who is the mystery man? My phone exploded. Friends I hadn't spoken to in months. My sister. Even my mother, who'd been suspiciously quiet since the engagement fell apart. Elias's PR team was already in motion by noon. Statements drafted. Photos managed. But he came home early anyway, found me curled on the couch staring at my screen. Hey, he said softly, sitting beside me. Talk to me. I'm not ashamed, I said quickly. I'm not. I just didn't expect it to feel this exposed. He took my phone, set it face down, pulled me into his lap. We don't have to hide. Not from anyone. But we also don't owe them anything. No interviews, no explanations. Just us. I rested my forehead against his. What if they dig? What if they find out about Daniel, about everything? Let them. His voice was steel wrapped in velvet. The truth is on our side. And if anyone tries to twist it, my team will bury them in legal paperwork so deep they'll need a submarine to get out. I laughed despite the knot in my chest. You're terrifying when you're protective. Only for the people who matter. He tilted my chin up. You matter most. We spent the evening offline, phones silenced, blinds drawn. He cooked, burned the garlic bread, but the pasta was perfect. We ate on the rug in front of the fireplace, talked about stupid things. Favorite childhood cartoons, worst first dates, whether pineapple belonged on pizza, we agreed it did not. Later, tangled in bed again, his fingers traced idle patterns across my back. I want to take you somewhere, he murmured. Away. Just us. No cameras, no headlines. A cabin up north, lake, woods, terrible cell service. 2 weeks. You, me, sketchbooks, and 0 interruptions. My heart swelled. When? Next month. I'm clearing the calendar. I kissed the hollow of his throat. Yes. He rolled us so I was underneath him, weight braced on his forearms, eyes dark and warm. Say it again, he whispered. Yes, I breathed. Then softer, I love you. He smiled against my lips. I love you more. We proved it to each other slowly, thoroughly, until the only sounds left were gasps and murmured names and the crackle of the fire dying down. When we finally slept, his heartbeat steady under my cheek, I realized something had shifted permanently. The fear that used to live in my bones had been replaced by something warmer, stronger. And for the first time, I believed I could keep it. The cabin sat at the end of a gravel road that wound through pine and birch, the kind of place where the nearest neighbor was a 20-minute drive and the only sounds after dark were wind in the trees and the occasional call of a loon across the lake. Elias had been right about the cell service. 2 bars if you stood on the porch and held your phone like a divining rod. We turned them off the moment we arrived and left them off. For 2 weeks it was just us. Mornings started slow, coffee on the deck wrapped in the same blanket, watching mist lift off the water. Afternoons were for wandering, hand in hand along the shore, me sketching fallen leaves and the way sunlight fractured through branches, him reading beside me or simply watching me draw with that quiet, contented look that still made my chest ache. Evenings meant firelight, shared blankets, conversations that wandered from childhood memories to dreams we'd never told anyone else. We kissed constantly. Soft ones over breakfast, hungry ones when we stumbled back inside after a walk, slow deep ones in front of the fireplace that left us both trembling and laughing at how easily we still unraveled each other. Every touch carried the same unspoken promise. This is real, this is ours, this is forever if we want it to be. On the last night we sat on the dock after dinner, feet dangling above black water that reflected a sky full of stars. The air smelled of pine and wood smoke. Elias had his arm around my shoulders. I leaned into him, head on his chest, listening to the steady thump of his heart. I used to come here alone, he said quietly. After my parents died. It was the only place the noise in my head would quiet down. I'd sit right here and think maybe I'd never let anyone close enough to hurt like that again. I turned my face up to his. And now I can't imagine being anywhere without you. He brushed his thumb along my jaw. You changed the silence into something I actually want to listen to. My throat tightened. You changed everything for me. I thought love was supposed to feel like surviving. You made it feel like living. He smiled, small, soft, the one he saved only for me. Then he reached into his coat pocket. When he pulled out the small velvet box, my breath stopped. He didn't get down on one knee. He didn't need to. We were already eye level, already tangled together in every way that mattered. Ronald, he said, voice low and sure, I don't want a ring to prove anything. I just want everyone, especially you, to know that I'm yours. Completely. No contracts, no arrangements, no safety nets. Just us choosing each other every day. He opened the box. Inside was a simple platinum band, matte finish, engraved on the inside with 3 tiny words in his precise handwriting. Asterisk enough. Boys. You. Asterisk. Tears blurred my vision before I could stop them. Yes, I whispered, even though he hadn't technically asked a question. He laughed softly, the sound vibrating through his chest into mine. But because I wasn't planning on accepting anything else. He slid the ring onto my finger. It fit perfectly, like it had been waiting there my whole life. Then he kissed me, slow and deep, tasting of pine smoke and salt from my tears and every promise we'd ever made without words. When we pulled apart, foreheads pressed together, I laughed shakily. "I don't have anything for you." "You already gave me everything," he murmured. "The second you said, 'Stop,' on that call and I heard how tired you were, you gave me a reason to feel something again. That's more than enough." We stayed on the dock until the cold drove us inside. In the bedroom, firelight flickering across the walls, we came together the way we always did now, unhurried, reverent, completely open. His hands mapped every inch of me like he was still learning me by heart. My fingers traced the lines of his back, grounding myself in the reality of him. When the wave finally broke over us both, it felt like coming home. Afterward we lay tangled in sheets, my head on his chest, his fingers playing with the new ring on my hand. "Marry me," he whispered into my hair. "Whenever you're ready. Tomorrow, next year, 10 years from now. Just marry me." I tilted my head to look at him. "Just soon." "Soon," he echoed, smiling against my temple. We fell asleep like that, wrapped in each other, the lake whispering outside, the future stretching out wide and bright in ours. Months later, back in the city, we kept it small. A quiet ceremony on the rooftop garden of the penthouse at sunset. My sister cried through the whole thing. A handful of close friends toasted us with champagne. No press, no headlines, just people who loved us witnessing the moment we made official what we'd already chosen 1,000 times over. When the officiant said, "You may kiss," Elias cupped my face with both hands, looked at me like I was the only thing in the world worth seeing, and kissed me slow and sure and full of forever. Later that night, back in our bed, not his anymore, we lay in the dark, rings catching the faint city glow through the windows. "I love you," he said, like it was the easiest truth he'd ever spoken. "I love you," I answered, and it felt like the easiest truth I'd ever known. Somewhere in the city below us, life kept rushing, deals closing, headlines breaking, people hurting and healing and starting over. But up here, in the quiet we'd built together, everything had already changed forever. And it was only the beginning. Thank you everyone for watching. I also want to hear your thoughts about this story, and as you do so, don't forget to subscribe, like and share for more amazing BL stories.